wasn't going, to be fair, but I did buy that one. Yeah. Good evening. You're very welcome back to the channel. It's me, Paddy from across the chuck, and our special guest, Ben from Jack Wolf Knives. And that's wee Jud.
You brought a wolf. Nice.
What can I do? I like to make you feel at home, Ben. What can I tell you?
Well,
Yeah, this is just our monthly catch up with Ben, see how the knives are doing, getting to learn more about the design and why things are changed, not just, but what I really want, and there's so many in there already, that's great. It's great to see you all in there, but what I would really love is questions tonight, questions for Ben that you would always love to ask a maker, a designer, anybody to do with knives, who's got that knowledge that you maybe just want to understand why he does something. Any question at all to do with knives, Ben will always give you a full answer. Whether you like it or not, you get the right answer. But yeah, please join in tonight and ask as many questions as you can.
And I mean, the other side of things, if you've been paying attention to Jack Wolf's Worldwide and on Facebook, is that Ben was this week at California Custom Knife Show. Isn't that right, Ben? Yep. So we're going to be asking him about that. I was hoping to get some sort of incriminating photographs and everything to embarrass him with, but unfortunately I didn't do my due diligence before the show. But hopefully we'll be able to get some feedback on how that show went last week, especially for us UKites who only get to look forward to that one time a year in November with the Sharp Show, and we get to drool over everybody else's experience across the pond. So yeah, with that in mind, that's what we're going to cover. Hopefully we've got 15 people in the room at the minute.
That's
so what
we'll
do is we'll get started and we'll ask the usual nonsense of Ben, ask him how he's been getting on, but I'll let you do that.
Oh, you were doing so well there.
I know, but I like to think that I'm including you.
I'm not one of the two of you. I hope your wives are listening to this. Not one of you noticed I got nice new glasses. Not one of you.
I thought they were
you
lovely.
thought it was. Yeah, you didn't say it though. None of you said it. Valentine's Day too. It was yesterday. I didn't get one card.
I'll give you a big kiss afterwards. No, nobody wants to see that, by the way.
Yeah, Ben, give us a wee rundown. Just a quick, brief rundown on why you bought the best knife that I believe is out there at the minute. Is this Barlow, the Midnight Jack, which is just. Look, Ben, as you know, he got that off me, and I tried for a year to buy it back. I offered him everything, trades, swaps, and he wouldn't let me have it back again. And then this came out with a carbon fiber, and I just had to have this one.
Oh, that's nice too. Is that the fat carbon one, the Nebula?
No, let's see.
That's a White Storm.
Oh, White Storm. Oh, very nice.
I particularly picked this one to have a look at because. And it's something I want to talk about sort of later on. I'm a traditional lover like you are, Ben, but these knives, this is just amazing. But with the carbon, it makes it look a bit more traditional. And I know it's modern traditional. I'm not going blind to that, but I just love the fact that this one it's a Barlow that looks like an executive Barlow. Mm-hmm. To me, that's what it looks like, an executive Barlow.
Well, I think we'll get into that, because what I'd like to do with Ben is what we always do every time is get Ben to show us all the models, because there was such a range, because he's got the elegance of this one, but then there's that new resin that you were the chaos resin, wasn't it? A chaotic resin that you were looking at. So Ben, I'm going to blow up your screen a wee bit so you can talk us through all the different variations.
Sure.
And show us them so we can see what we're talking about. And I just thought the range and the choice this time around was first class.
All right, so I'll just go from left to right here on the table. So this is the first time we're doing jig titanium in the reverse tux configuration.
Oh, that's really growing on me, that titanium, I have to say.
The titanium, yeah. I'm not a black blade person, but I mean, I love the shape. I done the video today. The locking knife is now in my top 6.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd have a locking knife after the first one, but that is beautiful.
This one here, just based on the way it's, milled titanium and how the jigging is kind of sunk down, you can really see those chamfers that we added to the back end. And that's a really cool kind of
Because that's so much
view of the
Yeah.
knife right there with the black spring and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just saying that because this is the original Midnight Jack, and it is a lot sharper on the edges on the base of
Yeah.
on the end cap. So it's you can
This
really
is-
see that.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's just goes to show that I do listen to everybody's feedback, you know. And go ahead, Steven.
The first comment I got today on my video was, "Did he do the chamfer off the back end of the knife?"
And then also too, like these edges here along the butt, these are no longer like angles. These have a tiny 0.5 millimeter bull nose radius.
Yeah.
So everything has been softened. You don't feel points
No,
anymore.
it sits in your hand lovely, that one now.
So that was a nice change. So that's Jig Titanium reverse tux. Then the one Steven has is twill carbon fibers.
Still getting
It's really interesting how it plays with the light, the twill.
Yeah, because I sometimes get a green gold kind of thing coming off that, although that could just be my eyesight.
I don't know how to describe this stuff. It's really unique. We used it with the canine jack, and it hasn't been back since. And there was enough drumbeat for it that I said, okay, because I'm usually more drawn to the funky stuff. But I mean, there's 5 choices, so who's to say we don't try to satisfy the guys who are looking for something a little more monochromatic?
Let me tell you what I think it is, and I actually tried this afternoon. Just it's after I'd done my video, and I was sitting looking. Do you see whatever color is in your surroundings? That knife will pick colors of it up and then reflect them back to you.
Right.
If you got I had a white shirt on, but then when I put a red mat there, I put it up and held it, and it actually reflected red. Reflectivity.
Cool. Very nice.
So just
these carbon fiber ones also have the bevels and chamfers, so you'll get that on all the variations. And then so there's a hand satin blade here. So I think when you refer to this as like an executive knife, I think that's spot on, man.
Yeah, it is. And I'm growing very far. I've got 3 now that are hand satin, and I'm nearly drawn to them every time to see which one's got hand satin because I genuinely love it. It is beautiful.
It is a premium finish. I mean, it does cost me more to produce them, and I don't turn around and charge more for it just because it all kind of comes out in the wash, and I don't like nickel and diming people. But you are getting an upgrade when you get hand satin. There's no doubt about it. And also, what's really nice is it's smooth, so fingerprints wipe off them real easy.
Look, for a production company to do hand satin as well as all 3 of mine are, they are absolutely stunning. That is just, I mean, I've had customs that weren't as good as this.
Yeah, they nail it. They nail it.
Really, they genuinely do.
Brilliant.
Bigger sharpening choil too than the version 1.
Perfect. Yeah, I love it.
Yep.
Love
and
that.
of course, for the uninitiated, you're going to get amazing fit and finish transition between materials. I had people picking these up at the California Custom Knife Show thinking they were fixed blades because they don't see the transition between blade and spine, which is a really awesome compliment.
Which might be a little thing that might be a wee special thing we were talking about before we started. That might just a wee small fixie.
You've done a locker. A wee fixie. But we'll talk about that in a bit.
People certainly have been asking. Okay.
I think a wee 6-inch fixed blade would be absolutely right on trend.
Okay, that's the White Storm, was it?
White Storm. And this is our first. My lighting isn't good. Camera's old or my monitor's old, but this is a stonewash blade.
Oh, right, yeah.
So it's got that sort of speckling on it.
Oh yeah, it definitely has speckling. It's Speckleville.
Oh, very.
And we went back and forth. You can kind of see it there. Went back and forth.
Get a matte kind of reflection on that.
You're kind of it looks more gray because it doesn't have the same reflectivity. Like you can't see your reflection in it. But yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful stonewash finish. And, there's going to be a contrast between the satin lines on the spring and the stonewash on the spine of the blade. but that's part of the charm there. And
Absolutely.
it is slightly more smooth all around, like the spine, the sweat, like everything, because it's been in the tumbler. So a little bit softer. And also something I wanted to point out is, we've gotten feedback on the burr that's on these spines. Sometimes they're a little sharp. So they've been addressing that, and these are now an improved edge along the spine. So, just FYI.
Yeah.
Actually, is that thicker, or is it pretty much the same?
Same blades. It's just they've come through and gently addressed the edge condition of the spine. I told them, like, you cannot round it. It needs to be crisp. But if guys are telling me they're sharp, like there's too much of a burr there coming off the hollow grinder. You know? So just give a little TLC to that, even if it's just a couple passes with a file or whatever you got to do.
To work it. Yeah, just to clean it off a wee bit.
That's there. That's been addressed.
Okay. Don't get too wrapped up in it. If the Dutch bushcraft boys get a hold of it, they'll be striking a fire starter off it.
There's a lot of guys that they can strike a ferro rod.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I don't want to lose that, But I think it's still good. Now I did another hand satin offering on this because I really do like it. And so this is another sort of executive level knife with a splash of copper.
That's a nice one.
Dark matter copper, hand satin blade.
I mean, that dark coppery theme on them, just like the Little Bro when it first came out with the gray bolsters, really goes incredibly well.
Yeah, again, it's another very elegant one.
Gray this dark gray is a wonderful color to match things with.
Yeah.
It goes well with so many different finishes and textures and colors. So I think more silvery.
In the future, would you ever do a shiny bolster?
We've got to prototype that. I mean, like polishing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as it, a couple thoughts on that right off the top of my head. Like, it's got to be executed well.
Yeah.
And you can't kind of round everything off and make it look like it's over polished. You can over polish something for sure.
Yeah.
And this stuff snail trails and scratches, and that can scratch too. So I think that's kind of here or there. As long as it looks good.
What about a nickel silver? Just a nickel silver bolster?
Well, so those are soldered on. So that's a different type of construction altogether.
Oh, it's too much. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're getting into pin construction and it's not that's not really in the cards here, but it would just simply have to be polished titanium.
I think polished would be nice, as a change whenever the time's right.
He likes his shiny stuff, Ben. And
I can follow you there. I mean, the hardware is polished, and polished titanium looks good. You don't see it as much as bead blasted. I think bead blasted is more en vogue, but I like polished metal too. So I think the point is that you've got such a range of such a variation here on that, particularly this one. That's I've really noticed it because you've got a black blade, you've got the hand satin blade, you've got the stonewash blade, and
the black.
The black blade, and I mean, then that's the standard flat grind, isn't it? So
hollow grind.
Hollow grind, yes. So I mean, you're already sort of. Oh, there you go. There's the one I was looking for.
Yeah,
I really love that, but to me, it
was the wrong knife.
It's the Barlow. Yeah, the Barlow's too precious to me. I just couldn't go there.
How is that working out for you? I mean, because I know you had good success with the Kiranite. So is this different from Kiranite again? This is a resin build?
Yeah, I mean, so this is very experimental at this point, simply because this has not, as far as I know, had this stuff used to this extent or in a production, setting. So, this project has been going on for some time. And there was challenges with it. There was even challenges in manufacturing with this, like keeping things flat during the process. It would want to like twist a little bit because it's a resin. And when heat is applied, it can move.
Yeah.
there's obviously heat as a part of any manufacturing process, just from friction, cutting, and all kinds of stuff. So they were not totally thrilled with me because of this. The factory, I think they'd rather work with carbon fiber because it's so predictable, or like metal, super predictable. But I mean, the proof is in the pudding. It's freaking beautiful, and it's
the interest is here. So I mean, Midnight Crisis here is asking how many chaotic midnights have you sent over to Framer, or if any?
Really Frank's business how many he gets. Like, I don't want to disclose that, but what I will say is I do send the same amount of each color to every dealer. So if, like, for example, if a dealer got 10 blue, they're going to get 10 red and 10 orange and 10 green and 10 purple. Like, I try not to pick winners in advance of getting these things, because man,
that's like tempting fate, really, isn't it?
Totally, exactly. Like, so anyway, if you wanted to call Frank and ask him how many he has, that's between you guys. But he doesn't have any more, any less than any other color.
That's a good answer. That's an absolute good answer. And while we're here, we've got a few questions in the chat. Do you mind addressing them all right?
Yeah, let's do it.
So, I mean, given that we're working on the chaotic resin, we've got a question here from Randy. He's a big man for natural materials. So he's bringing the question back to resin-filled wood again. Kind of stabilized wood, I'm imagining.
I would simply say I'm very interested in continuing to expand my handle material offerings. If you know of anything that's available in sheets, like if you see something on the internet and it's like $60 for a pair of scales, obviously that's not going to work. Some of those materials out there, you get a set of scales to make a knife and they're $40 to $60. Like, that's not going to work. But if there's a material out there that can be bought in bulk sheets or even small pieces, but is reasonably priced, then send me a DM and I'll look at it. I'm open-minded. I know Raffier Noble has some wood products. They also have some plastic products. I've been kind of eyeballing some of that stuff.
I actually just got one of the Spyderco. Well, it's not a new knife, but there's a little native.
Yeah, is that in Raffier Noble?
Bring that up.
Yeah, it's not Raffier Noble, but it's a beautiful camo sort of carbon.
There's the Raffier Noble there.
Oh, there, you've got the Raffier Noble.
Yeah. So I mean, and I know they have. Is that one of their wood products or just one of their acrylic products?
It's one of the acrylic. It's an acrylic one because it's transparent, basically.
Yeah.
And that's on the Chaparral, the Raffier Noble Chaparral. So
I think that stuff's feasible. I just haven't taken the time to buy any and send it over, because I never buy it and assume it's going to work. I have to buy a sheet, send it there, and then they make a knife or two out of it, and then we got to see how it goes, because like sometimes the corners come up, sometimes the finish doesn't look right, sometimes it shrinks, So it's like it's easier said than done with new stuff.
And this brings us on to another question here, Ben, and it's a good one. Now, I think I know the answer to this because I remember our first conversation, believe it or not. But here's an interesting one from Big Bird. Any thought about accessorizing scales so that they can be swapped?
You know what, Big Bird? If I could, I would love to. But the problem is they are ground to fit each knife individually. And so one set of scales from one knife may or may not fit up well to another knife of the same production run. And that's why all these parts inside of each knife are numbers matched. So they're numbered and then they're matched. So it would have to go, we'd have to pick a size, and people would have to understand they're either going to be just right, which is probably the smallest percentage chance, or they're going to be a little undersized or a little oversized. And I don't like selling people projects, problems or projects. You're trying to buy a solution. So it'd have to be a totally different way to build a knife. It would have to be a totally different way to build a knife to have that feasible.
And then those odds are going to vary depending upon on the scale material as well.
Exactly.
Some material is going to shrink, some material is going to expand. Exactly. And when you're
cut as clean, as others. So it's like, unfortunately, I mean, I think there's a market for that. Like, I would love to sell upgrades. It would be lucrative for me and it would be fun for you, know? And I I don't have a way to do it other than selling them oversized so that you guys would have to fit them. And then people are going to be nicking the finish on their titanium liners and wanting me to fix those. And I don't have a blasting cabinet. So I couldn't even fix them if I wanted to.
Tell you what, I have a suggestion for you then as a compromise for all of the people like Big Bird and all of the modders out there is bring back micarta, but make it a neutral color so that then they can rip dye it whatever the hell color they want. And then they can change color and they can do whatever else. Now, I know that I'm probably a lone voice crying in the wilderness, Ben. Don't worry too much about it.
You're not.
You're part of a very vocal minority. I'll tell you that one.
I had said, but I would love to see, instead of just the plain micarta, I would love to see like a denim micarta. Do you know the way that GEC done in the Barrows? I think they done a denim micarta one, and you can't buy them for love nor money, and nobody wants to get rid of them. I think they've done on the 27 or 25.
I think there was a denim micarta Madison Barlow that they did in Northwoods, and I know they did the Esky. Yeah, the Esky Zulu. I know they did that in denim micarta.
When you get good denim micarta, I think it looks lovely. It really does look a nice knife. But the other one that I wanted to talk more of was the smooth, the really high polished, like a maroon. And the maroon would go so well with a big, like a bolster scales. The gray and maroon would just be so rich looking.
Yeah. Yeah. They obviously have to polish the kieranite because otherwise it looks all scratchy. And so they're doing a good job polishing material. So I think it opens up the door for me to potentially try some of those alternative material. Like if I went back to micarta, I don't think I'd want to do the same black, green, brown. Mm-hmm. But that was from one vendor. Now I'd have to find other vendors to get some different stuff. And then we're kind of back to the drawing board with sending it over, make sure it cuts right, make sure it looks right. I mean, it's micarta, so it's a pretty safe bet.
Yeah. And the burlap micarta is another one. I think it would, it'd be a nicer, then go back to just a plain micarta. That burlap can be. I think
denim and burlap are really so last season. I mean, there are so many other different variations on micarta in terms of the colors and patterns, and God knows. I mean, you can basically get a tartan micarta for crying out loud that would appeal to the Scottish crowd if nobody else. And I mean, as you can see, I'm a big fan of plaid. So are you. So, I mean, if you can get me a micarta plaid that will go with my shirt, I'm all over that action.
Well, sell the shirt as well.
Sell the shirts as merchandise. Another money-making winner. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen like flannel micarta or plaid micarta, but that would sell like crazy.
It would really.
Let's skip that one.
But you'd have to sell the matching outfits to go with it, Ben, and then that's a whole different world. So it is. So
there was another wee thing I was thinking of today was, like on the locking knives, and you had the jig titanium, which I think is amazing. But it would be nice maybe for the future ones, something like a what do you call that coating they put on, the good coat, Cerakote on the jigged part, but not on the bolster.
Yeah.
And, something like a mustardy yellow, a real rich mustardy yellow on the jigged part.
To actually color the
and I think that rather than doing the blade, you just do that part. I don't know how much more expensive that is, Ben. I've no idea.
Well, so okay, Cerakote is they got two kinds. They have air dry and oven dry, and the good stuff is the one you bake on. And I don't know if the factory has any experience with Cerakote application. It's a very particular skill to do it right. Not to say that people don't do it right. It's just I don't know if they can do that, and then it adds dimension to parts.
Yeah.
So like when you have precision made parts and you Cerakote everything, now pins don't fit in pinholes and barrels don't fit inside, back spacers and stuff. Like you gotta be really careful with there's unintended consequences of that kind of stuff.
It's great to sit and think of ideas, and then all of a sudden you get reality slapping you in the face. There is so much more to making a knife than just put a color on it.
That's it exactly. But these are and it's details like this that you just never think about. I mean, we're talking about micrometers, micromillimeters here,
but yeah, it can affect so much.
But it can actually throw off the engineering of the whole build.
But yeah, and I think as novices, it's nice to learn.
It's one thing if you're sitting there messing with 1 or 5.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, you got a batch of several hundred knives, and you're trying to keep up some kind of production schedule. And now all of a sudden, we have a problem with everything. Like, that's a problem. That's a problem. It's a very costly problem. Yeah. So anytime, every step in the process is an opportunity for error. But the more effort you put into something and the more details that are there, like potentially the more desirable it becomes. Yeah. So it's tough.
Yeah, and I think you're proof of that you do try new things, and that's the nice part about it. It's never stagnant.
Yeah. Think of how different this batch of Midnight Jacks is than the first batch.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But it's still playing on. It's still, but the thing about it is, the Midnight Jack is a classic, and you don't want to spoil it. What you've done is you built on that classic basis and tweaked it, and made it better. And I think that's what's been interesting watching this develop over the last 12 months is how do you make something that's almost perfect just that little bit better? And it's that continuous improvement cycle is just fantastic. It's just lovely to see. But enough blowing smoke up your ass there for a second, Ben. I have a dodgy question for you from Elan, and again, I know the answer to this. And please feel free to keep your secrets to yourself, because Elan is desperate. Elan desperately wants to know who OEMs your knives.
I don't share that information. They're a group out of China. I don't disclose it. That's been our agreement since the beginning. So sorry, I can't give you more.
Nice one, Elan. We have to keep asking this question because it comes up every flipping time. And one of these days he will break. It'll be like Tom Holland and the Avengers. He'll eventually give something away, if enough of us keep on asking. The other one that we've got a question, and this is an interesting one actually, and I'm hoping that you can answer it. It's Midnight Crisis wanted to know, what country buys the most of your knives proportional to the population? No, actually, that's a mathematical question.
United States is number 1. Okay. As far as into Europe, I don't have the data to answer this specifically, simply because my largest European dealer is Knives and Tools, and they're in the Netherlands. However, they have foreign language websites, I think in like 8 or 9 different European countries.
Yeah.
And they have foreign language, they have native speakers for customer service to support all those websites. So I would actually have to ask for some kind of report from them to know where the knives are going within their network. I know they have a UK site, although they don't sell much into there since you guys Brexited, right?
Yes.
But I know they sell all over Scandinavia, and they sell into Germany. And I mean, I get messages from people from, what is it called, Czechoslovakia anymore, or the Czech Republic? I don't remember the name of the country, but that part of Europe. I got guys in Romania. I got guys all over. So I don't know. I mean, UK has been strong. Since the very beginning, and I'm quite happy with the support you guys have provided. I just don't know. I wish I knew, damn it.
Well, go away and find out, Ben, for goodness sake. Get that data, crunch those figures.
Well, if I had to guess, I would guess Germany, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I know that I got dealers there, and I know Knives and Tools also sells into Germany. So there's probably Germany's number 1, and probably UK is number 2. Probably followed by Netherlands is number 3.
It's like the World Cup. We're always second.
All silver.
Excellent. Well, that was some really good questions.
There's another one. G10 now. Somebody asked this afternoon, not the normal G10. It's the new one. It's nearly like my Carta. There's that many different colors they can put in it.
It's funny. That's an interesting
G-Carta.
So G-Carta is in fact my Carta, and it's made by, I think his name's Greg Hansen, if I got his name right. He was retired, and he started doing this as a hobby, and now he's like got a full-time business again, this guy. But
that's quite a stable material, isn't it?
It is. So I've heard some good and bad things with G Cardin. Nothing to do with like the quality. The quality is excellent. The patterns are super cool.
Yeah.
But with machining it, sometimes it can chip and tear because all the different fabrics he uses and all kind of stuff. So like it's different in a production setting versus in a custom knife setting where you're just at a grinder and you're not using a CNC to cut all kinds of parts. It's also expensive, prohibitively expensive, because it's kind of priced for the custom knife maker to buy, a block that could do 3 or 4 knives. It's cheap.
It's funny because I've seen there's some of the larger companies like CRKT are using it and in their knives, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I saw there was a ProTech, they did it, and they said, I talked to those guys at a show, he has these blocks he makes, so he has like a certain mold or whatever. It's not really set up for sheets to load into a CNC to come down and cut scale. So those guys, they had to treat it like a custom knife project. They had to like take them out, load them in, take them out, load them in. So it's just time intensive.
I suppose in time that will change as well. You'll get sheets eventually because
it's like any technology.
If the demand's there, they'll make it work.
Yeah.
You would have thought.
Yeah. Now G10 is fiberglass product. The only I've been apprehensive with G10 simply because it's always it's commonly associated with entry level knives, right? Like cold steel, entry level Spydercos, like they're just budget knives. We'll have G10. You don't typically see G10 on higher end stuff. It's kind of boring. The plain color stuff's kind of boring. It's very even toned.
Yeah,
it's the same kind of gridded feel across it.
But I don't know whether you've seen that's just come out this last week from Rosecraft Blades. They have one. They have a lovely Barlow. Well, it's not a Barlow. Sorry, it's a jackknife. But it has 3 different colors, like orange and red, and in stripes. And boy, when I first seen it, I thought, "Oh,
is that G10?"
Yeah,
I thought G-Maskets or whatever it is.
No, I think it's just G10, just layered. But when I first looked at it, I thought it was gaudy. But you see, as the week went on, and I kept looking at the knives, and I was getting closer up to the thing. There's something to that. Definitely, it's quite nice.
Yeah, it's on the table. Hasn't been top of my list.
Right.
Yeah. I like the more premium, more interesting stuff personally.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, just to bring the tone down a wee bit, Sean's saying that given your answers to some of the questions, you should be a politician. Not sure if that's an insult or a compliment, Sean. But,
he could make bloody president at this rate, the way it's going over there.
The competition. Look, we need you to run for president, for crying out loud, Ben.
That's an arena of snakes.
Oh, really, man? You're not wrong.
I thought ours has been really horrendous this last few years, but I have to say yours is definitely beaten it this time.
It is entertaining.
Oh, very much so.
Now, bear in mind that Sean has also offered to give me the incriminating photographs I was looking at at the start of this show. So he may be the kind of person you want to keep on the right side of. Hopefully, he's at least put his clothes on for this podcast. But he's known as Naked Sean here. I don't know why.
Right. I had the strip on my podcast.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. We promised we wouldn't talk about that anymore. So anyway, this has been brilliant. So, Ilan, I'm not sure. I think you should see your GP, your doctor about the aphrodisiac things. Not ask for it on a knife.
Yeah, that takes my licking your knife to a whole new level.
Oh, man. I'll tell you. Here's an interesting thing I learned from Bill at Great Eastern Cutlery. So if you notice, you haven't seen a ram's horn handle out of him in forever. And that stuff looks really good. It's kind of a dark, like a kind of a black color, and there's these blonde streaks that run through it. He said that stuff moves around and shrinks or swells more than anything else, and he'll never use it again, he said.
Yeah. If you take some of the older knives, even that the British companies, they use the horn quite a bit. But it really does shrink away from the bolster. It not all of them, obviously, but the amount that I see in the second-hand market that people are buying the older knives, and they're shrunk in, they're sideways top. So, I can understand that. I wouldn't pay big money for a horn, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think it's just there's so much that can go wrong already. I'm trying to avoid stuff like that.
Absolutely. So, Hinderer Collector 41 is reminding us that the 7 days to the Texas Blade Show. Are you going up to the Texas Blade Show yourself, Ben, or have you had enough for a bit?
So, Donnie and Kim and myself will all be there. I've got a booth, and I upgraded my booth, so it's a 20-foot booth now. So
fantastic.
Ultimate configuration for a very long time, the 20-foot booth. And, I've got 16 models to put out on the table. So 20 feet gets eaten up pretty quick.
Yeah.
You're pretty crowded with the 10-foot booth, honestly. It would be one thing if I didn't have so many models, or if I chose not to put them all out. But the beauty of the knife show is, hey, come check out every single model. Like, here's your one chance to feel this knife that's been out of stock for a year or whatever.
Have you got a table number, Ben, that we can give out?
Yeah, let me see if I can pull that up here on my computer. I'm sorry, I was not prepared for that.
Sorry, that's Hinderer Collector 41's fault.
It's nice to get. If we can get a table number, I can put it up on my channel as well. So when is it next?
7 days.
7 days. All right. Well, I can put it up this week on the channel. Give a table number, because a lot of people like to pick tables that they're going to go to and that.
Yeah.
While Ben's looking for that, we'll review this. Midnight Crisis agrees with me that tartan scales are definitely the way to go. So does Sean. Tony's Pony's having a little bit of what do you call it? Imposter complex or imposter syndrome. He's feeling a wee bit guilty that he doesn't own a Jack Wolf. So work on that, Ben. Work on the guilt, and he might actually buy one of them. I mean,
there's a really easy cure.
Yeah, Fraymore Knives.
Fraymore Knives, Friday night, 1900 hours, and go and buy one. You will not regret it.
Absolutely not. And I mean, everybody's got to have at least one. Well, maybe not everybody. But
only odd people would not have one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is Tony odd?
You don't want to be
Tony
odd.
Seems
Tony
so nice. Yeah.
You don't want to be odd. I mean, we've got enough odd people in the group here. Enough. I mean, I'm odd.
I would say the majority of us are odd. Right.
Yeah.
We're not.
These are our people, Ben. It has to be said.
Yeah, 100%. Booth 407, Fort Worth, Texas.
I'll make sure I put that up.
Hang on a second. Booth 407. Does that mean that there's over 400 exhibitors?
Yeah, I presume so.
Jesus, how big is it?
The Texas one is probably, gosh, I don't even think it's half as big as the Atlanta one. It's still pretty big. Now they're running waiting lists for these shows, all 3 blade shows. Like they're to the point now where they have more exhibitors than they can let in, and you always get a chance to renew. If you exhibited the year before, but like I know she's starting to become. She can afford now to pick and choose who she allows to exhibit at these shows. Because if you're like, no one's ever heard of you, and, versus someone who's an established brand or maker, she's going to give weight to the established brand or maker. And I guess I only say that because the quality of these shows is getting excellent. Like these blade shows are run, they run like a well-oiled sewing machine. Like everything is.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if they can pick and choose, if it's a sort of buyer's market, if they're not struggling to get producers, then that's their privilege, I suppose.
But I have to say, 2 little points here. I think the Americans do the best big show thing, and their service, everything about them when they do it is immaculate. And I've been up and down both sides. And I just love American service. From a small restaurant to a high store, you always get good service and you get well looked after. And I don't suppose the blade show's any different.
No, it's really not. Especially, in the South. Yeah.
Yeah. My young lad's over in Florida at the minute. He's on a submarine and he's over at the dock in Florida. And it looks like the submarine's broke down. He might be there for another month alongside. And he's in heaven.
Aren't you in contravention of the sort of Official Secrets Act? Giving
Not
out
yet.
the
He hasn't
position.
hired anything.
I know, but you're giving out the position of one of our submarines.
Yeah, which one?
It's a submarine. We've only got
No,
one.
they're all different. No, he's in Florida at the minute, and the first thing he said to me, he said on the phone was, "I can't believe it here." He says it's fantastic because I'd always talked about it when they're growing up, and I'd say, "Oh God, here he goes to see stories again and all this." Yeah, but he's just loving America, absolutely loves it, and he's only 18, so he can't drink. There's no drinking down in Florida at that age. You have to be 21 or something.
Yeah, pretty much the whole United States is 21.
They managed to sneak into one bar and they ended up getting thrown out before the night was over. So,
okay, we've got a couple more questions for him. Elon's got a double header in here. He's looking at red jig bone, and we've heard this one before, Ben. Actually,
I don't know if you can get it. I haven't dabbled with bone. I've been, I dabbled a little bit with wood. That would be another traditional material. Just haven't got there yet. But let's take a little audience poll: smooth bone or jig bone?
Okay, can we have an answer in the comments, please, guys? Smooth bone or jig bone? Smooth bone,
regardless of color. Assuming you can get color, but smooth or jigged?
Put it in the comments, guys, and let's have. The other thing that Alan would like you to do, Ben, is I don't know why, but why?
There
How did that happen?
Class.
How did that happen?
Elon must have rang him.
Watch this.
I want one of them.
Make me go like this.
Oh, look
Get
at that.
out of here. That is smooth.
That's fantastic. Can we do that?
Is that an app you can just get?
No, it's It's built into StreamYard. Go ahead and do it. Get a thumbs up. Watch, you'll get a thumbs up bubble.
Will we get that as well?
Try it. I would think so. As the host, I don't know.
Hang on a second. Let's get that. I'm jealous now.
And then
we might not have it turned on.
Look.
Oh, look at that.
You must. I want one of them.
Oh, we might have to get the special version.
I'll be on to Donnie this week. Donnie, tell me how to do it.
That is awesome, Elan. Thank you very much for that. And if you know how we can turn that setting on, if anybody knows
how we can do that, let us know.
That's the most awesome thing I've seen tonight, except for the Midnight Jack. Let's get back to it.
You are cool.
What can I tell you?
You really have a face for TV, haven't you?
Well, at least I've got a face for something. It's not a face my mother I would think.
Well, no, she slapped it too hard.
Yeah, look. Actually, when I was born, the doctor slapped my mum. She didn't. So
fair play to you. Wise man.
Anyway,
let's just talk about something random.
Go for it.
Let's just do something completely random.
Okay.
Where are you going on holidays this year, Ben?
What's that? Where am I going to holiday?
And why?
That's a good question. We've gotten to the point where, so I've got, I do 4 or 5 knife shows a year. And as a family, we go visit where I'm from in Michigan and where my wife is from in Texas. So it kind of buys up our travel schedule. We've done some driving trips that are kind of smaller as a family. Like we went in October up to the Grand Canyon and we stayed. I think we probably talked about this on the live stream. I can't remember, but it was what they call glamping, which is glamorous camping.
Yeah.
And so there's this company called Under Canvas, and they have these campsites all around the West, presumably. And, it's all under tents. So there's like a lobby. That's the main tent. And you check in and they have a food truck parked next to it so you can get food. And they have board games and cards and bingo and checkers and all that stuff on shelves and a lot of community seating. It's amazing. And then out on the property, there's individual tents. And inside the tent is a wood burning furnace. And so it's cold at night, and so you got to stoke this fire all night long to stay warm. But the plus side is you can see all the stars at night because you're out in the middle of nowhere. It looks like a planetarium. So we did that. I'd like to do something like that again this year. Like that
That's the sort of thing kids love anyway, isn't it?
They love it. They love it. And there was other kids there, so they made friends. And they have like outdoor fire pits, and we were making s'mores, and the kids were, being troublesome, and they kept throwing everything in the fire pit, like napkins and plastic forks. And it's like,
let me tell you, we think they'll never forget it. My boys are 25 and 23, right? And we're taking the two of them back to the Lake District, which is where we used to go on holiday camping and everywhere else with them when they were kids. And they are jumping at the chance to go on a family holiday with us. And it's just something they never forget, and it's memories that they'll live with them all their lives, I think. So
mine are a bunch of wusses. They hated camping, but they loved the caravan. And we done the caravan route.
You see, the glamping.
We tried the camping, and it was me and Sally sitting outside the tent from about 6 in the morning, because we get up early, we'd have a wash and all outside of the tent, and we'd sit there waiting for them to get up. About 11 o'clock, they get out of their scratching. It's just horrendous. They're terrible. And there's bugs, there's flies. No, never again.
Our boys love camping.
So ours loved it. We had a wee baby bell. It was a caravan just for 2 people. It must have been shorter than the width of this wee room, which is, about 10 foot. It was at the most, maybe a bit shorter. But me and Sally would sleep in it, and we had a big awning out. The awning was bigger than the caravan, and the kids would have slept in the awning. It was just, they loved it.
Yeah. Oh, no, I know there's nothing like it. So you're onto a winner there, Ben. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But I think the important part of Stephen's question is you can't make the excuse that knife shows give you a break and get you out to different places. You got to look after your own mental health here, kid. And if you're working too hard, it's not good for you.
No, I understand that. Bringing Donnie on and Kim, that was as much that helped my mental health as much as it's helping the business grow, because I don't have to work 7 days a week anymore. I can work, at a minimum, I'm working 5, and I can choose to work that 6th day if I want. But the 7th day is for my family. I unplug, for the family. So wake up, go out to breakfast, hang out with the kids, like take my son to get a haircut or whatever we do, run some errands, and then we watch a family movie at night, so I've got the 1 day for sure dedicated to the family. Depending on what else be going on, maybe the other weekend day is more for family time. But you get more done on that 6th day. I can get more done on a Sunday than I can do combining Monday and Tuesday, because I'm working.
I don't think you would have the sort of brain that finds it very easy to relax.
It takes me a while to ramp it down, man. I can't just like unplug and let it all go. It takes me a while to let it go.
Well, you see, you're not hanging around with me enough, because my default state is unplugged. Just saying, guys.
I have to say, this year we're actually planning. The channel is planning for me and him to go out and do camping videos, go out and do wood whittling around a fire, things like that.
Old man bushcraft.
That's the word. Old man bushcraft.
Old man bushcraft.
Old man bushcraft. And here over in the UK we have the two big sort of bushcraft come out in the woods kind of people, survival experts, where Bear Grylls, and what's the other one? Ray Mears. Ray Mears. Now, the difference between these two is, now we're Ray Mears kind of people, okay? Because Ray Mears, his idea of going out in the woods is you go out in the woods with a knife, and you bring your knife and all your goodies, and what you do is you build the fire first, and then you put the kettle on, and while the water's boiling, you build yourself a nice, comfortable armchair out of all the resources that you've got, and you make yourself unbelievably comfortable, okay? Now, Bear Grylls, on the other hand, his idea of a good time is to parachute into the wilderness, slice open the nearest dead animal, and climb into it for a comfortable night's sleep. Now, I don't know what side of the coin you fall on, but we're definitely Ray Mears.
We actually take good deck chairs with us, because there's nothing like you have to keep the back well. We take our chairs
apart from anything else, I mean, I haven't moved on to the advanced bushcraft of actually building my own chair yet. So I've just about got feathers sticking off.
This year we'll do that. I'll teach you how to do that.
Excellent.
There you go.
Excellent. Things to learn, Ben. Things to learn. I hope you'll tune in when it happens.
Well, I'll be riveted.
You're very generous.
Did you ever watch our first one?
No, I didn't see it. I've had up with the YouTube recently.
I'll have to send you a link to the bushcraft one. It was a parody, just a joke one, but we just wanted to go down and see if the concept was worth it. Well, we lost about half the video footage, didn't we? But
only just watch the 5 minute, first 5 minutes.
First 5 minutes.
You won't be able to watch the rest of it anyway, because nobody could take it seriously after that. So it's
I don't know if anybody can seriously.
It was like being on a film set. It was just like Ben-Hur all over again.
Right, we're going to get back to the knives.
How about I show this off? Because I wanted to clarify something. Steven called it Chinese art, but it's not. It's the inspiration for this was like Art Nouveau.
Art Nouveau, 1930s, 1920s, actually.
Yeah, Art Nouveau style, all the swirls, and so this is an Art Nouveau interpretation or presentation of Jack at Midnight.
Very cool. I like his waistcoat. You see, it's tartan, if you'll notice.
And he's got his cane right there.
Very cool.
So I thought this was really, really well done. Cool use of color palette.
I just love the differences that you're getting this round or this go around with the art. It's just fantastic.
And that's a Art Nouveau wolf.
That's a Chinese wolf. I'm not having it. That is a Chinese bloody wolf. No, I'm not having that as Art Nouveau.
Art is up for interpretation, so I'm not going to say you're
in the eye of the beholder.
Wrong. I can tell you that the design intent was an Art Nouveau execution.
Beautifully done too. On the back of that, Ben, we've got a question from Baron, our favorite, splitting slices. Do you think Chaos Resin and Jack will be the hottest seller on Friday? I know you don't like to preempt these things.
I would bet on it. I would bet on it.
Yeah. Because he's saying that the reverse tux jig titanium is his choice.
Here's the other thing. Yeah, I mean, that's sort of go back. I think this carbon fiber is going to hit an awful lot of the traditionalists because it looks like a traditional Barlow to me. And I just wonder if any other traditionalists out there think like that. Does anybody in the audience think this is more of a traditional looking? We know it's modern. We know it's got the fantastic blade steel. It's not a traditional knife, but it looks it. And that's the important bit. It's modern, traditional, just in looks.
Yeah, I could never guess them top to bottom how they sell, but you can usually gauge which one's going to be the most on social media for the couple weeks leading up to the drop. And feel pretty strongly. And also the knives I sold at the California show, the Chaotix all went first. So, it's just a sample of data, but it's a pretty good indicator, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think anything that sells in the first day, no matter how long it is fantastic.
I mean, also, nobody, very few people own a knife made from this stuff. And there's nothing else that looks like this. Like you could say micarta is micarta, right? Even this one's green and this one's tan. This is very unusual. It's very unusual.
Are you likely to do more on that, Ben?
I want to, but I have to work with this guy to try to improve the product before I send more sheets.
Yeah.
Like, can we make it more rigid? Can we so when it shows up in that place, the sheets aren't twisted, or like they were like, don't send any more of that. That's what they said to me. And I'm like, wait a minute. Stop the press.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm like, if I can improve it and send you a sheet so you can practice with it, can we maybe use it again? Okay, sure. Like,
Isn't that just part of the process, though? Isn't it? On most things you're going to do with a new product, you have to have a little bit of leeway to do it right properly the next time.
Yeah. Well, and the part that was interesting was, when we started, I sent a piece over and we made a few knives out of it as a prototype process, and we had to work on the finishing, this and that. And we got it. And so then it wasn't until I sent several sheets for a whole production batch that the challenges came up. So you can never take any of this stuff for granted, and I will simply say, like, the fact of the matter is you may never see this stuff again from me.
Yeah. Ooh,
Unfortunately.
Thanks, Ben. I went for the wrong bloody knife again.
No, you didn't. You went for your knife. You went for
If I
your
can do to make it happen again, I will, because you guys know me and I really like it. I'm determined to make it work, but it's certainly not going to see it soon because we need a version 2 prototype, a version 2 sheet.
Yeah.
Well,
no, I'm very happy with mine. I have to say, I wouldn't swap. Not this time. I'll maybe go for it the next time, but this is the one that just really hit me up the face.
What I would say though, Ben, is make sure that you have plenty of it at the Texas Blade Show, because we have a threat, a sort of, or well, not so much a threat as a warning from you that Mikey Newman is even only verbally suggesting that there's a Texas road trip, and Midnight Crisis is suggesting that even that the road trip should start in Northampton. But the main thing is, what might turn out more realistic is Father EDC is going to see you in Atlanta in June. So keep your eye open for Father, and if he's there, treat him well.
Yeah, he won the Christmas draw. Father EDC won our Christmas draw.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he got a lovely Ashley Harrison custom.
Yeah.
Man, I saw a picture of Ashley Harrison. I don't know if he posted it or where I saw it, but I'm trying to remember what exactly I saw. Oh, it was a bunch of snakewood knives. Did you see that picture?
Yeah, the snakewood he gets is just hot. I tell you, that man, him and his father, they can get some wood. They have had, and they only do small batches of it. Like you said, it's easier to get and do when you're doing a small batch, but some of the wood, honestly, is outstanding.
Yeah.
And
man,
the one that I think
stopped me dead in my tracks. Just dead in my tracks.
It's some of the nicest snakewood I've ever seen. To be honest, I've got a couple of snakewood knives, and they just didn't compare to it. And GEC, I've got a lovely GEC 25 in snakewood. It's beautiful. And then you put it beside one of them, it's like chalk and cheese. It's unbelievable. But he has done that in quite a few woods, I have to say.
The wood that he turned over is just amazing. Even the simple woods, just beautifully done. I
don't know whether you've seen it, just talking on woods. I got a knife last year. I don't know whether you'd seen it. And it was from the wooden decks of the Royal Yacht Britannia.
Oh, interesting.
And when it was scrapped, there was these couple of planks left. And there was a chap in England, he bought the planks. He knew whoever it was in the factory. He's a joiner. He took them and then made them in the knife scales and put them on basic Barlows from Arthur Wright. And I've got this, what is it?
It's teak.
Is it? No, I don't think it was teak.
Was it oak?
No. I can't remember. I think it might have been teak.
Yeah.
But it's like a blonde teak. And it is absolutely and it's got the what do you call it? The card that tells you it's real.
The certificate of authenticity.
Certificate of authenticity. The bloke, he doesn't do them anymore now, but he had a very short run, so I was really happy to get that.
It was a lovely night.
Yeah, because I was actually carried off the Royal Yacht Britannia, absolutely comatose drunk after being in this junior rates mess.
If you're going to have a memory, I mean, at least it might as well be a decent one. That's true. Right, Ben, we're coming back to the poll that you asked for, just to round up, because we're coming to the end of our hour. So I'm going to run through these comments. You need to do a quick count of all the ones. So we've got from Mikey Newman, we've got Smooth. From Coming in EDC, we've got Jigged. We've got 2 for Jigged. We've got Jiggy. We've got 3 for Jigged. We've got a white smooth bone.
Oh yeah,
that's serial killer stuff.
Ben collects a lot of white bone.
But that's 2 for smooth bone, and we've got another one for jig bone. We've got another one for smooth bone. We've got another one. I think we're hitting it even. Smooth bone.
4-4 now.
Oh no, Eugene's going to throw in a one out of left field.
Oh yeah. If you get good saw cut, that's lovely.
But we're going to keep going.
Put it in the jigged camp because
we'll put it in the texture camp. Absolutely. We've got another jigged. We've got a jigged
7. Yes, random, not symmetrically machined. I follow you there. It's going to be machined. It's not going to be done by hand, but they can
randomize it.
This is not symmetrical, and this is machine done. So
yeah, that's good jigging. If you can replicate that in bone, that would look lovely.
So we've got another jigged
8. 8-4. I think is our runaway winner here.
Jigged.
9.
I think it's jigged. Jim, no, that's not to say that smooth is unpopular, but the jigged bone is definitely looking like the favorite. Yeah.
Now I don't even know how well jig bone would look in a CNC, but Finch did it with those blue bone. I think the model's called the Flint, and they had like a kind of like a clip point model they have, and they did a blue bone, and it had to be machine done because it was symmetrical. It was perfect, but at least they did it at an angle. Anyway, it looked great.
Yeah, I have to say I'm a lover of jig that doesn't look at all in any pattern. I love that, but I can understand that's probably much more expensive to get done.
Well, ultimately, if the machine's going to cut it, it's just going to follow a program. The cutting head's going to follow a program. So whatever pattern you want to model in on the computer, it can do. So whether it's symmetrical or asymmetrical, I don't think it's 6 or half a dozen. You just have to be able to model it in, and then it's going to have to look right. Like I would love to do saw cut would be killer. I love GEC saw cut. It's like, well, it's saw cut across the top.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of like beveled on the edges.
I know this is going to sound funny, but have a look at the Rough Rider saw cut, the Queen series that they're doing. It's the best saw cut I've ever seen on any knife at any price.
Cool.
It's amazing. It's very cut deep and randomly, absolutely amazing. But there's something, I don't know whether you've seen this before. You seen that?
No, what is that?
That's jigged wood.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that is something I thought he'd sent me the wrong knife because this was a custom maker. This is a boy that works for
Stephen Cocker. Cocker, isn't it?
Yeah, this was Stephen Cocker. Yeah. Sorry, yes, it was Stephen Cocker. But it's absolutely beautiful. He makes the knives for Edgingtons. Edgingtons, I think it is. That's the old
what's another old Sheffield?
Yeah, it's old Sheffield. They have about 3 or 4 Sheffield names in it. But I just thought that was the nicest jig, and it's wood. It's just green wood dyed.
I see. Interesting. It looks good. It looks like green jig. It's hard to tell.
Yeah. Some it's probably, you see the likes of Ashley Harris and Stephen Cocker, the UK makers. I don't know where they're getting their wood from, but honestly, they wouldn't be. It'd be worth giving Ashley a ring, or his dad Michael, and ask them where they get it, because they can really get it from somewhere.
Even the types of wood that they're working with, because I know even some of the stabilized woods that they're working with stabilized maple and birch and any number of other kinds.
The challenge is going to be exporting it to China. That's an issue. Like I'd rather just be able to use whatever they can get there. Like if I had a list of species that are suitable for knife making and is it going to shrink or swell wheel back, I'd be like, can you go find this and maybe send me some samples? Versus just sending stuff over there is really expensive in general, because sometimes it's got to ship to me and then I have to ship it there, and there's import tax twice and customs fees, and it really adds up. And so 50% of the handle material price is just in fees,
Yeah.
And so if something's expensive to begin with, by the time we get it there, it's a deal breaker.
Yeah.
So I think that this session has been useful. Just to wrap things up, this session has been useful, Ben, for you, for us, for the people in the chat, and we're very grateful for everybody who stayed the course with us tonight.
And thank you for taking part in that wee poll. That was really interesting just to see that. A small poll is fantastic.
But it's representative of the community and the kind of people that are interested in buying your knives, Ben. So I mean that's exactly the kind of feedback you're looking for, I'm assuming. So
it's a fact.
Absolutely. So what I would say is, as always, Ben, when's the Midnight Jack coming out again?
So tomorrow, Midnight Jack Art Nouveau, chaotic resin,
Yeah, 2020.
Twill carbon fiber hand satin, Fat Carbon White Storm first time ever stonewash blade, Fat Carbon Dark Matter Copper hand satin. Tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific in the United States. In the UK, 1900 hours.
Yep.
And Europe or elsewhere, please check with your preferred dealer as times vary.
Yeah. Are you going to be doing any more of the other blade steel?
M390?
No, the
S90V.
no, not bloody blade steel. Ow!
You said the other blade steel.
No, the other finish on the blade steel. The
The belt head?
no, the one you just done this year for the first time.
Oh, stonewash?
Stonewash. Are you going to do any more stonewash?
Yeah, let's see how it does.
See how it
I mean,
goes?
if it's
Yeah.
a bomb, then I'll be less inclined, but I like it, and I think it looks good. If people are in, I like having choices. It makes my job harder sometimes because it's almost like analysis paralysis when I'm trying to pick these things. But if guys like it, I'm into it. It's a really nice finish. It's nice and smooth. It's like glass. It feels like glass. Yeah. Wild.
It's a beautiful one. It really is. Final word from Byron. He's saying that he's hoping that we are not representative of any group of individuals. Him being because he's very individualist himself, and he likes to stay outside the norm curve. What I would say, Byron, is that statistically, there's probably norm curves within norm curves in either end of the bell. So
I'm confused now.
I'm just showing off.
Who's Norman Curve?
I don't know, but who knows anyway. So. Yes, I think we've got an answer in terms of jigged rather than smooth. We definitely are looking forward to some new materials. It looks like the Chaos resin is going to be a big seller, but as always with the Midnight Jack itself, I think it's going to go like hotcakes. So if you want one, get one.
It is a fabulous knife. Fabulous knife.
It's hard not to like it. You know, it appeals to a lot of people. It has really cool angles and lines that are just presented in a way that is simple but modern and attractive. Like it's hard to be.
Also the Barlow. It's also the Barlow pattern is. I mean, it's a winner, really.
A nice little small Barlow to go with that. You know that GEC 15 size would just be a lovely.
So a baby Midnight Jack is what we're talking about. Like the little bro and the big bro.
He nearly nodded there.
Yeah, I think
I was going to say, you know, like the little bro as a Barlow with a sheep's foot blade would be that, you know. To do this is about 3.8 closed. So going down to 3.6, 3.55, it's not going to be that much different. You know, that's why the big bro and the little bro are at 4 inches and 3.6 inches more of like bookends. And this one kind of sits in the middle.
You say that, but that sort of the little bro or the smaller Barlow, like the GE15, which to me is the most perfect, easy to carryable knife there is. It's just beautiful.
Do I have a favorite Midnight Jack? I don't know, not really. I like them all, honestly. They've all been kicking each other out of the pocket these last several weeks. You know what? This one keeps calling to me. I didn't expect to be as into it as I was. There's something about the black with the dark gray that is really, really attractive. You know, like maybe more of a wintry color scheme. You know, it's like a little more dark. But
I like the way the metalwork works all the way through that too. It's very, very nice.
I mean, this is a contradiction in modern and traditional right here for sure, because it has all the traditional shapes and it's jigged and it's a Barlow, but like it's full titanium and it's
tactical. I was going to say, to me, it just screams tactical. I've never been used to black blades. I've got a Cold Steel American Lawman. It's the only black blade. Mm-hmm. No, it's not actually, because I've got my Benchmade bug outs in black. Axis. Right. Yeah, I do like it. Yeah. There you go.
Right, Ben, I think we're going to wrap it up here because the guys are getting restless. The natives in the comments are getting restless. Oh, and we've just seen Donnie's arrived.
Hello, Donnie. Nice to see you.
You missed all the fun, big lad. We'll see you next time, and we're counting on. We want to have you. We want you to regale us with tales of the Texas trade show or knife show. Whereabouts in Texas is it this year?
Fort Worth, which is part of the Dallas metropolitan area.
Yeah, my goddaughter lives in Fort Worth. Look at that. I might get her to go and visit and buy me a few names.
Yeah, wire her some money and send her on in.
Well, she's rich enough to buy her old godfather a knife or two. Good grief. Ben, as always, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Before they go, what have they got to do?
I have no idea.
Hit the like button and the subscribe, and head over to Frank at Fraymore Knives, because over there you'll get better pictures of the knives that he's going to have tomorrow. He's them lovely. He takes a lot of time, gets them right. Go over and see him and see what you're going to get tomorrow night. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.
All the best. Ben, hang around a second. We'll talk to you.